What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. I'm your host, Rafael Burgess, and today we're going to be going over why my coilovers are making a clunky sound or a clanky sound. It sounds metallic, so I'm going to just try to figure that out. But for now, I'm going to pull in the car. I think it's these rings right here that need to be tightened. I'm gonna just check them, make sure nothing's moving around. Since they're under load, it's gonna be a little different than if they weren't under load. But I'm gonna just check these. I'm gonna make sure these bolts are tight too on the strut, and then we can go from there. So basically, now that I'm on the ground, I was using these, the coilover tools that came with it to fix it. It seems like on the driver's side, it was a little loose compared to the passenger side. So that could have been a lot of the clunking that I was hearing, like the metal on metal. But I think it's actually when the coilover, let me sit up. I think it's when the coilover actually decompresses. So when, say I hit a bump on that down part where my tire goes down and there leaves a little gap, I think it claps a little, and that's the metallic noise that I'm hearing. I don't know how to fix that, but I go in for an alignment tomorrow, so maybe they could help me out with that or figure something out so it can stop. It's kind of annoying, but I only hear it when I'm going very slow over bumps and stuff. So yeah, or down a bumpy road. Another thing to mention is if you're gonna go this low or go low at all, make sure you mitigate like the rubbing as much as you can. Let me flip that around. So right here on this part, let's see, you see that little bubble line right there? That little bubble line is because it was rubbed so much when I was driving down the highway that it's heat up the paint, it's rubbed through the paint completely, and now it's starting to flake. So now I gotta go spend the money, get the paint, basically sand all this down, repaint it, feather in the clear coat, and then pretty much polish this whole area to make it match again so it doesn't happen to this, like it doesn't rust right here. But yeah, just to be aware, don't do what I did. All right, so I just finished the driver's side. Now I'm on the passenger side. The passenger side looks good. Everything was tight for the most part. I had to tighten this bolt down here. This bolt, that is the strut. I had to tighten that down because there's a little bit of wiggle movement. Yeah, a little bit of wiggle, like front and back. Or side to side, depending on how you're looking at it. But yeah, that bolt right there pretty much moved a little, so I had to pinch it and tighten it down as tight as I could and then stop that. But yeah, so now it's time to drive it and see if there's any noise anymore or any more clunking, because that was kind of annoying. Yep. Yeah, all that clunking was pretty annoying. So now it's time to see if when I drive it still makes that noise. If it still does, then I'm definitely gonna have to ask the alignment guys if they have any ideas, and then I can just go from there and figure it out.
One eternity later.
It's been about a week. The car is super dirty, but I did get the alignment done. So I'm gonna wash the car first, and then I'm gonna go over what I got done, what degree of camber I got, and why I went that far. And yeah, so let me just get the car washed first. You know, washing a car at home just hits different than going to an automatic car wash. You get all the nooks and crannies. But besides that, why I cambered it so much in the rear? I pretty much maxed out the rear, and I definitely maxed out the front. Why I did that is because the offset I went with a plus 35 and running a 225 tire, it kind of sticks out a little bit. It's called a poke fitment. With that poke fitment though, if I were to raise up the car to like stock height or just a little lower than stock height, it wouldn't rub whatsoever. It would fit fine, just as a stock wheel would. But since I slammed it pretty much as far as comfortably possible, that being my daily driver, and living in Wisconsin, the roads are pretty shit. But with that being said, I was rubbing a little bit in the front when I hit bumps, even though it didn't rub while I was normally driving, even with passengers. But in the rear, it'd rub off of everything. Small bumps, big bumps, and especially just driving on flat road with my fiance or my kid in the rear, sitting in the back seat, it sunk it, just dropped it. So I didn't want to raise it because it's too much wheel gap for me. So I went with a -4 camber or a -3.6 camber in the rear. And with that, and me driving it the last couple days since the alignment, it's not rubbing whatsoever. Even with people in the back seat, it's not rubbing whatsoever. So I'm happy overall. The car doesn't dart to the left or to the right. Now that the steering wheel's flat and straight with the car. But yeah, no rubbing, no nothing. I'm happy. I'm a happy camper. Now I just got to get those that paint redone and touched up on the rear quarter panels. And once that gets done, I'll be happy with the way the car is sitting, the way the car looks, and the fitment I have going on. The camber in the back's not too bad. It's kind of aggressive, but not too aggressive. I'm just trying to be a hot boy, you know, have a nice dance car. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Another thing, in the rear, as I said in the video earlier this week, or pretty much late last week, the rear like clanking noise, the metallic noise I was hearing was those rings. They weren't as tight as they should be, so when I would go over bumps, it would clap those rings and make that noise. So once I tightened them and I went for a drive, it kind of settled down and wasn't doing it anymore. So if you're having that problem, that was the solution to me. It might not be the solution for you, but I would definitely check all the bolts down there, make sure that they're tight, make sure your strut, the bottom bolt is tight, because sometimes they're not the same width as the stock strut, so it kind of slides back and forth. So just tighten that down as best as you can, and then tighten those rings. Once you have your height set, just tighten those rings as much as you can, and that was the solution for me. So hopefully it's a solution for you. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. You already know what to do. If you like this, like the video, comment, share, you know. I'll see you guys next video. Peace.